These guys are... I used to think, you know what, DDP's got him. And I still think that, dude, he might just be too strong to be muscled around like this.
Yeah.
But Chimaev is truly on a different level.
Hey, fight fans, get ready. The UFC just announced Dricus Du Plessis will defend his title against the undefeated Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 319 in Chicago. Du Plessis is on a 7-year win streak, and Chimaev hasn't lost ever. This is going to be huge. Now, with a fight of this magnitude, the opinions are flying, and even the experts are finding this one tough to call. Take MMA Guru, for example. He's been on the DDP train for a while, but this matchup has him second-guessing. He acknowledges that while Du Plessis is incredibly strong and might be too powerful to be simply muscled around, Chimaev is operating on a completely different level of ferocity, especially in that notorious first round.
These guys are... I used to think, you know what, DDP's got him. And I still think that, dude, he might just be too strong to be muscled around like this.
Yeah.
But Chimaev is truly on a different level.
I think DDP beats him.
I think he could, and I am leaning that way. Chimaev, who's a killer.
Yeah.
He's a murderer.
Yep.
He goes out there, I'm going to drag this guy in the first round, destroy him. For a second, he goes, what the...
Yeah.
If you can snap that on Chimaev for a second.
Guru admits he used to confidently pick DDP, and a part of him still leans that way. He wants Du Plessis to win, he thinks Du Plessis can win, but the sheer danger that Chimaev presents, particularly in those opening minutes, is undeniable. He calls Chimaev a round one guy, suggesting that if Khamzat is going to get the victory, it's most likely going to be a quick and brutal finish. Let's bring in a legend, Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson, for his take. DJ is looking at Chimaev's history, specifically those grueling fights against Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman. In both those contests, Chimaev had dominant positions, moments where it looked like the end was near, but he couldn't secure the finish. Johnson believes that if Chimaev can't get Du Plessis out of there early, his gas tank will become a major factor.
If Chimaev cannot get him down,
he will, but yeah.
But let's say he does get him down.
Yep.
And he doesn't finish him, right? I think he's spent.
DJ highlights that if Chimaev doesn't figure it out in the first or second round, Du Plessis's relentless pressure and that awkward, unorthodox style will start to take over. Chimaev might be the more traditionally athletic fighter, but DDP's lanky man style, as DJ puts it, that constant forward movement and unpredictable striking, could be the key to overwhelming Khamzat as the fight wears on. It's that classic stylistic puzzle. Raw power versus unorthodox endurance. MMA Guru isn't just analyzing, he's got some strategic advice for Dricus. He thinks DDP shouldn't just focus on stuffing takedowns, which everyone expects. Instead, Guru suggests Du Plessis should shock Chimaev by going on the offensive early, maybe even shooting for a takedown himself.
So this is why I don't think DDP should go out there like, oh,
yeah,
got to stuff the takedown. Dude, get on his hips before you.
Yep.
You know? And if he stuffs it, so be it. It'll be the least thing he expects. And for a second, Chimaev, who's a killer.
Yeah.
He's a murderer.
Yep.
He goes out there, I'm going to drag this guy in the first round, destroy him. For a second, he goes, what the...
Yeah.
If you can snap that on Chimaev for a second, Whitaker, he never had a moment in that fight where he thought, what's going on?
It was like, oh, he got me back.
He was complete composure. Same with Usman. Burns had him re-second guess himself.
Yep.
But all the good first rounds he's had, there's never been a snap in his mental game. That always happens in the later rounds. But if DDP shoots on him, there's a moment in Chimaev's head where he goes, what the f*** are you doing?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he's not this killer in a fight.
Yeah.
The thinking here is that Chimaev comes in expecting to be the aggressor, to impose his will from the opening bell. If Du Plessis can flip the script, put Chimaev on the back foot, even for a moment, it could create confusion and disrupt Chimaev's rhythm. Guru points out that fighters like Whitaker, Usman, and Burns never really made Chimaev question himself in those initial exchanges. If DDP can plant that seed of doubt, that hesitation, it might just be enough to neutralize Chimaev's vaunted killer instinct. It's a bold strategy trying to out-Chimaev Chimaev, but it could pay dividends. Now let's hear from the American gangster, Chael Sonnen. Sonnen, echoing a sentiment we've heard from others who have trained with both men, zeroes in on conditioning as the pivotal factor. He relays that Dricus is expected to weather an early storm from Chimaev,
De Renner has trained with both of them. He said there's going to be an early storm by Chimaev, but he believes Dricus can sustain the storm, and each passing minute favors Dricus. Now, what he's talking about is conditioning. If you asked me about that fight 2 years ago or a year ago, even 6 months ago, I would have quickly dismissed it and told you Chimaev. I would tell you Chimaev every single round. But I don't feel that way anymore. I feel and I'm seeing what other people are feeling and seeing. The greatness of Dricus, it is something that is now not only witnessed, but recognized.
Sonnen explains that every minute that ticks by in this fight shifts the advantage towards Du Plessis. He candidly admits that if you'd asked him a year ago or even 6 months ago, he would have confidently picked Chimaev to dominate every round. But his perspective has evolved. He's now seeing what a growing number of analysts and fans are recognizing: the undeniable rise and sheer toughness of Dricus Du Plessis. It's not just about surviving, it's about DDP's capacity to thrive in deep waters where others have drowned. MMA Guru is putting his chips down, predicting a Dricus Du Plessis victory by TKO, likely in the 3rd or 4th round. He elaborates on his earlier strategic point about Du Plessis not just being reactive. If DDP does get taken down, Guru suggests he should aim to pull guard, but specifically in the center of the octagon.
I got DDP.
DDP.
I think he'll survive the first round. Second round will be competitive. He might get taken down again.
Okay.
But I think he'll shoot in. I don't know. If I'm DDP, I'm shooting in on Chimaev.
Okay.
He might not be thinking that. He might think that's dumb.
Yeah, I don't think if he'll shoot
No,
him. I think he'll do.
You know what I mean? He'll choose something. If he is getting taken down, he'd be like, I'm pulling guard.
Yeah, I would hope
dragged.
he had that.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see if he does have that IQ of like, it's gonna be on my terms where I want you to land.
And I'm not going to be cramped up against a cage.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the center first.
Yep.
If you shoot early, we're in the center of the cage. I'm in guard.
Yep.
I'm not getting cramped up in guard up against a cage where I can't maneuver and I can't get to a leg and I can't pull an arm bar because the cage is there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think he takes the center early, doesn't stuff it.
Yep.
Lets it.
Yep.
Flops right to his back, but it'll be so easy for Chimaev. Whereas other people might put up a better sprawl.
Yeah.
It'll be so easy that he'll land better for himself, in a better situation for himself. So I think DDP round 4, round 3, TKO.
Former light heavyweight champion Jamahal Hill is also weighing in, and he's now firmly in Du Plessis' corner. Hill is refreshingly honest, admitting that he has doubted Dricus multiple times in the past, only for Du Plessis to prove him spectacularly wrong each and every time.
I probably favor DDP in that one, just for the simple fact of I've doubted this dude so many times now, and he's shut me up bad every time. It may look like he's like fatiguing or he's like slowing down, but he's really not. I think he's got the better cardio. His physical strength, I believe, can pose a problem for anybody in that division. We've seen Khamzat fade over the course of rounds before. I just believe Dricus has a really, really awkward way of throwing strikes that's not easy to time, get a read on. So I believe he will land. So I probably lean more towards DDP, but you can't count a guy like Khamzat out. I believe he's one of the best natural pure grapplers. He does have the ability to throw some hands too, so it's interesting.
The fight community is buzzing. Ilia Topuria, the featherweight champ, has a lot of respect for both men. He describes Chimaev as a true savage, someone who always hunts for the finish rather than coasting to a decision.
Man, he's a savage. He calls him his shots, he finishes his opponents. When he goes inside the octagon, you know that that guy goes for the finish. He's not looking for the decision. That's why I respect Khamzat. He's a beast. So he deserves to fight for the title as soon as possible. We're gonna have an amazing fight because I love Dricus Du Plessis. He's a great human being. I have a great relationship with him. I have a great relationship with Khamzat also. But as a fan of mixed martial arts, it's gonna be a very exciting fight. I hope the best man wins, and I wish best of the luck to both.
Then you have Nickal, a decorated wrestler himself, who unsurprisingly leans towards Chimaev due to his potent grappling.
I would, just based on the styles, I just think that the grappling style, I might be biased. I'm definitely biased, but I think the grappling style is so hard to beat, and it's so hard to defend against. And I guess if you look at it from a analytical point of view, you have so many. It's really become the dominant force in the sport. You got Marab, you got Islam, you got Bilal, you got Khamzat. You even have you can even look at Topuria. Obviously, people know he's more of a boxing style, and he does a lot more striking. But his background is wrestling. He did that before anything else, and so it's really wrestlers that are dominating grapplers that are dominating the sport right now. And so I think that I would give the edge to Khamzat.
Kamaru Usman, who went 3 hard rounds with Chimaev, knows firsthand how difficult it is when Khamzat takes your back, especially in the first round. He emphasized the strength of Chimaev's squeeze.
Khamzat Chimaev on your back in round 1 is not easy to get off. And then he was able to sink that in. And that goes to show how strong of a squeeze this freaking dude had.
Could he pull that same style against Dricus Du Plessis? Because I will say this.
1000%.
Triple C. Henry Cejudo chimes in, stating that while Chimaev can finish anyone in the world quickly, he doesn't see that happening against Du Plessis. He believes DDP's scrambling ability and constant pressure will make it tough for Khamzat.
Does Khamzat beat DDP?
Man, Khamzat could beat anybody in the world in about a round. Super impressed with what he did to Robert Whitaker. I don't see that against DDP. DDP's scrambling, man. You're gonna need to really be able to pace yourself for 5 rounds. And with DDP's train just continue to keep rolling and he's still steaming and his train's still hot. It depends on how long DDP wants to take a break. You're gonna have to prepare, man, for a guy like DDP. You're gonna need a 3-rounder, a 5-rounder to get ready, but I don't see it. I just don't see it. I think DDP's too, I used to think he was the sloppiest thing on planet Earth, and I thought the same thing about Rob until they bring that volume and just the tenacity. It changes everything.
Finally, Azamat Beko offers his thoughts, suggesting that many people tend to underestimate the champion, Dricus Du Plessis. He expects a very tough battle for Khamzat Chimaev.
Everybody underestimate the champion, Dricus Du Plessis, but I think it's going to be not easy fight for Khamzat Chimaev. But Khamzat Chimaev also strong. He destroyed a lot of fighters, and but I still think it's going to be close fight, and who knows who's gonna win? Maybe 55%. It's Chimaev, like that.
So what are your thoughts on this?
So there you have it, a deep dive into one of the most anticipated fights of the year. Khamzat Chimaev versus Dricus Du Plessis. It's a stylistic puzzle, a test of wills, and a fight that could go any number of ways. Who do you think takes it? What's your prediction? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, and check out our other fight analyses and news updates right here on the channel. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.